Hello everybody, welcome to Percussion Axiom TV. I'm your host Tom Burritt, and it is nice to be back here for episode 35. Been a long time for a show, probably the longest time ever, but things have been really crazy. End of the semester, things I had to get to and tend to, and just tons and tons of practicing for things coming up. But anyway, it's great to be back here for episode 35. And today, this show I hope to be kind of relevant to kind of what I'm up to and what I'm getting ready for and the things that I'm dealing with. And so today is a perfect example of that. Before we get into today's Axiom, I thought might be a nice change of pace to read some of the comments. Hopefully that'll spur more of you to leave comments to the show, because I really, really enjoy that. It's really the only reward in it for me doing this. So I'd love to hear from you guys. So, the last episode, number 34, we talked about the Thomas Burritt mallets and got some really good feedback on some of the questions that I asked. And this is from Jeff Sass. In his reply to my question of the episode, and some feedback that he got that I thought was really good. So he talks a little bit about this possible piece that we might be doing together. So I need more. I'm getting some good examples of some pieces you guys might want to do interactively. But I need more. So keep sending me those. That's always an ongoing question because we're going to start this up soon. So give me some more ideas on some pieces. I've got some good ones so far, but I'd love to have as many as possible before I make that final decision. And maybe I'll run another poll. We'll see about that. But anyway, Jeff Sass says, as for the interactivity, I'm not sure if we can set up playing a duet or quartet together online with streaming video. That's a really cool idea, Jeff, and maybe something we can look into. I've also thought about using Ustream to just kind of hang out and have a chance for you guys. I can ask you questions. You can ask me questions. We can set up a Ustream account, and then we all get together in a chat room, kind of talk about things, whatever you guys want to talk about. So that's kind of an interesting idea. I've thought about that in the past, but Jeff brings up a good one too. Anything we can do to be interactive, I think, is great. So love that comment. And he continues, I haven't ever heard of having a separate pair of practice mallets than a performance mallets. I've used the same set all the time. And he needs to think about that a little bit more. And I realized, thinking back to the last episode, I may have misled you guys a little bit. I mean, I practice with my mallets sometimes, but not all the time. When I'm just repeating and doing blocking, like we're going to talk about here in a minute, I generally don't use those. So, I think it's okay to use them. Just realize they're going to wear out. You don't have to have practice mallets, but it's just something I do, and and especially if you're paying lots of money for them, it's a wise thing. So. Anyway, thanks, Jeff, for those comments. That's great. And so thought it might be nice to change it up. If you guys, want to keep doing that, leave some comments, and maybe we'll read a couple on the show and see what you guys, hopefully that'll encourage you guys to leave comments. Okay. In a couple weeks, I've got a concert coming up with the Soli Chamber Ensemble. They're out of San Antonio, Texas, and we're playing, one of the two pieces we're going to play with them is called After the Forest Fire by Michael Torkes. And I found this piece really, really challenging. And there's a section in here that I'm going to leave pictures of it on my blog. So at thomasburritt.tumblr.com, if you want to go, and if you're watching the show there, great. If you're not, go there and watch the show, because you'll be able to see what we're going to talk about. I'm going to leave a picture of the spot on the music, which is right here, for you to check out. It might be helpful as you're watching the show to be able to look at that. But there's a really difficult section in there that I struggled with, and struggling with big time. Wasn't even sure how to address it. But I realized that blocking really was the key, and so I wanted to just kind of show you a snippet of kind of what I've been up to. This is a really interesting piece. It hasn't been performed very often, so it's pretty new. I've only known of one other person to play it, and so you have to come up with these problems and solve these problems some way. So towards the beginning of the piece, there's this sort of triplet lick that is lots of contrary motion and some very difficult moves, and it's difficult to remember too, because it's somewhat unpredictable. And so I tried playing it without blocking for a while, and it just wasn't working. And then I thought, I forget what episode it was, but when we were back doing the Stout episode, right? We talked all about that. So this is going to be, another way to use that concept. And so if you look at measure 47, and if you're looking at the picture at thomasburritt.tumblr.com, you can see it's got all this contrary motion. And if I just play the lick as it's written, it sounds a little bit like this. awkward, lots of elbows. I hate doing the chicken dance. There's lots of elbows sticking out. So I just found it really, really hard to learn that way. So I realized after preaching to you guys about how important blocking was that I actually wasn't doing it myself. And so I kind of re-looked at it and began to block it. It became much easier. And so here's the same excerpt. And you can notice this if you're looking at the picture of the music at tomsports.tumblr.com. This is how it basically looks blocked. And it continues on well past that. That's all we're going to go with right now because the rest of it actually doesn't block well. But that actually took me a couple weeks to learn really slowly over and over and over again. And that's by far the best way to learn it. And what I can do is I can speed this lick now. I can practice this lick much faster blocking it than I actually will have to play it at tempo. And that's the key with blocking and what it actually creates for you is it really allows you to actually be able to use your brain and get your brain thinking way farther ahead and faster than your hands actually need to go. And then you'll have no problem with memory slips, or at least not as many, and it'll become a little bit more secure in your hands. So that's just one of the many benefits of blocking. And so take a look at the picture online at tomsports.tumblr.com and maybe mess around with it. I don't know how clear that's going to show up. It's kind of an experiment. Maybe you can mess around with it and you'll see how kind of strange it is and awkward it is. But lots of patience, blocking, and it comes together. So anyway, that's today's episode in Axiom, which is the power of blocking. I hope you guys found that useful. And please leave me comments about pieces you want to interactively learn. And having so much fun following you guys on Twitter. The interaction there on a daily basis is great. I'm going to I was putting up some clips on my blog that, to keep you guys coming back. And so anyway, we're going to get back to that. And thank you so much. So today's quote or question of the episode, I just came up with that. That's kind of interesting. Is when was the last time you blocked something? I'd love you to throw a picture of what it was. And if you're not blocking when you're practicing, what are you waiting for? That's it. That's today's episode. Thank you so much, you guys. And we'll talk to you soon.